Hello and welcome to the module Planning the Inclusive Environment, part of the project Including Jerusalem, promoting inclusion as a unifying process for primary school children in fragmented communities of East Jerusalem. The two main objectives of this module are understanding the role of teacher in the school to promote an inclusive environment and understanding the connection between quality in the school and systemic change in the environment. How we can promote an inclusive environment in the school. In this picture, you can see the setting of a primary school in Bologna, in Italy. As you can see, the setting is organized to promote equality and cooperation in the classroom between all students and the teacher. So, to promote an inclusive environment, we must underline that there is no single didactic solution. Each classroom, each group of students is different. So, the environment represented by the school, it's a place within a plurality of subjects that are evolving and changing day by day. The teacher is facing different cultural and social backgrounds, and the specific diversity of each child, the dynamics of the developmental age, and very often cultural and professional certainties can vacillate. And teacher is forced to rethink his or her working practices. He is forcing to rethink the way in which knowledge is transmitted, the educational project. So this is why it is not possible to think about a unique didactic solution that can be applied everywhere depending on the age of the pupils. But various attempts, alternative paths, sometimes these paths can also be informal, to bring each student to educational success, not only in terms of accumulation of knowledge, but in terms of the true formation of the person. So it is important that the teacher is able to observe and implement each activity based on the observation made in the classroom. The teacher must become a researcher and a reflective practitioner. Teachers are forced to question established modules, their own communicative faculties, and traditional teaching practices, accepting the fundamental value of experimentation. The professionalism of teachers is linked to a lifelong learning process in which teachers are willing to confront themselves and modify their beliefs and work habits in order to implement their knowledge, to improve their working method, their teaching approach, in understanding and the ability to handle different and diverse problems and social conditions. So, what is inclusive education? Here you can see another picture from a primary school in Bologna, in Italy. Once again, the setting in this shape can promote cooperative learning and equity between pupils. Also, you can see that the setting is very well organized. There is enough space for materials. Each student has all the necessary materials that they can be used during the didactical activity. There are a lot of drawings of kids. So when we talk about inclusive education, we don't talk about pupils included or to be included in the mainstream settings, but on the idea that we have to make and create schools with inclusive settings in terms of teaching, assessment, curriculum, school organization, roles, and functions. So, talking about inclusive education means define a systemic change that wants to remove all barriers that exclude and or discriminate against anyone at macro and micro level. When we talk about inclusive school, we talk about a quality school, focusing on the diverse needs of all pupils, respecting the principle of equal opportunities and active participation of everyone. So, including pupils in the classroom is not enough to talk about inclusive teaching, but is an essential part to make the context, the methods, and the attitude inclusive for all. So the concept of inclusion imposes new challenges on the school and the curricular planning in order to give life to a planning that takes into account everyone's differences, aiming at all and promoting the best opportunities for individual and personal growth for each subject. So teacher can act on classroom climate, socio-emotional competencies, and didactic strategies in a systemic and integrated way. The inclusive class climate is built by paying attention to both organization and interaction, to educational intentionality and respect for the rules, and by connecting the different components. So the organization of spaces, the sharing of rules, the respect for common environments and material are all indispensable elements that make pupils feeling they belong to the same class group. The teacher has the task of building a meaningful relationship with each pupil through verbal and non-verbal modes of communication and through the implementation of simple and specific behaviors. Willingness and courtesy, openness to listening and to individual opinions are some of the most effective conditions for creating a positive classroom climate. So, an essential part of the educational path is the social emotional education. This involves a series of processes through which pupils and teachers learn and effectively apply their knowledge, skills, and competencies to understand and manage emotions, set and achieve positive goals, empathize with others, and make responsible decisions. Pupils must therefore acquire and then be able to manage their social, emotional, and pro-social skills in order to promote their own personal well-being and that of the entire class group. Similarly, pro-social education is based on teaching that aims to enable children to identify and understand the needs of other people and to take helpful actions towards them, always respecting the characteristic and diversity of each individual. So the teacher is a promoter of inclusive education and must also be emotionally competent in managing his or her classroom. From an inclusive educational perspective, there are two cooperative strategies that are the most useful and applicable in the school setting: peer tutoring and cooperative learning. We can also add to this cognitive and metacognitive strategies that favor the development of a strategic approach to tasks and a metacognitive reflection capacity. The implementation of these strategies for the whole class also relates to the promotion of inclusive context. Finally, it is important to design intervention strategies for the special needs of learners, activating effective solutions to overcome differences and obstacles to learning and participation, like behavioral strategies, the use of different teaching mediators, containing behavioral problems, improving communication. The inclusive classroom is like a micro-society that is organized in a democratic way to live better. It is a place where interpersonal achievement is based on values shared by both pupils and teachers. A more inclusive school climate enables everyone to feel accepted, understood, and valued. It develops a sense of belonging, a positive interdependence, and empowerment. And it helps in creating a solid, social, effective, communicative, and relational foundation.